Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon. Today we are going through the highly anticipated ISS Vanguard by Awaken Realms. They first teased this game via an art book that was a free gift during when you received your Tainted Grail, like Wave 1 original English content. That was the first time anybody had seen any of this artwork before, and you know, they were really pushing it. This was also the first ever crowdfunding game to appear on GameFound, which is now rivaling Kickstarter for GameFound campaigns. But this is essentially Star Trek in a box. Let's be honest here. It is, you know, very much space exploration, exploring new worlds. There is half of your game is going to be set on the ship, where you're upgrading your ship. You're upgrading like landers and things like that. You're upgrading your crew, finding more crew, and then the other half of the game is down on various planets. Everything about this game is kind of breaking the mold. They are pushing into new realms of you know, like binders and app assisted integration. I think you can actually play this game without the app, but there would be a lot of reading involved. Anyways, we're going to take a look here at the core box very soon, and we also have the quite large box of the Close Encounters. This is the miniatures expansion. So if you're familiar with an Awaken Realms game, a lot of times they will put in like the core players or core things are miniatures, and then outside of like maybe 6 or 8 premium miniatures, everything else is standees. If you want the full immersion experience, then you pick up the miniatures expansion. So let's just real quick, oh my god, this is the biggest box I've ever seen from Awaken Realms. It's not their typical square, but it's just as thick. It's like a rectangle, and it's about probably 15 to 18 pounds just by guessing. But here you can see you know, various there's some dice rolling mechanics, but there's also, you know, this really ship book, which is, there's a binder inside this box, a legitimate 3-ring binder, in which you are going to be placing cards into sleeves, whether they're injured or ready to go, whether they need to rest or something like that. Here you can see some examples of some of the really nice miniatures in the games. Awaken Realms always does a really nice job with their miniatures. And also, this is something I feel like does not go doesn't get talked about too much. Every single campaign that I've ever backed from Awaken Realms, I've received a thank you letter. Just a dear backer thank you letter. And I know that this is, you know, pretty easy to do. They just type it up. It doesn't cost them anything. It's not personalized in any way, but it's more than most other, I honestly can't think of right off the top of my head now, any other company that is sending you a thank you letter as part of the campaign. And so you really get the sense that Awaken Realms does care about this community, the crowdfunding community, the people who support them and buy their games. So let's, I'm going to get the film off of this. We'll flip it back over, and then we'll take a look inside. Okay, so here is, again, the box. This thing is literally like packed to the gills. There's a little bit of lid lift already. I'm sure that's just because there's some cardboard punch outs. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, there's the lid off. One quick note before we dive into everything that's right here, I just want to show you guys that there is, hopefully I can do this without dumping it, there are instructions on how to pack everything away properly, which is really nice. So here we have a lot of the cardboard components. There's some, you know, punch out, probably status tokens, things like that, but a lot of these here that you see, you know, like the ships or the alien species. Let's flip this over here. We will take a look at these here in just a minute. These are what are in that Close Encounters box. So these are what we also have miniatures versions of. If you're looking for a game on a budget, which this one is still quite hefty of a price tag, but you know, significantly cheaper if you're just using the standees. These are already colored, painted, whatnot, beautifully rendered images, really nice touch. So take that for what you will. Let's just look at the rest of the stuff that's on top here, and then we'll come back to those miniatures. So here is the rule book. standard, pretty standard Awaken Realms rulebook. Let me just check one thing here. I believe, yep, the rulebook, this time we can credit it towards Paul Grogan here. So I'm hoping Paul Grogan's, you know, native English-speaking board game enthusiast who has his own channel, Gaming Rules, and works a lot on, is very good at rules explanations, things like that. So I'm hoping that Awaken Realms continues to improve their rulebook, not quality. The quality is fine, but you know, the explanation of things. And some of their early games, it was really, I think, there was just kind of lost in translation type of stuff. But I have high hopes for this rulebook here. So underneath the rule book, we have some miniatures starting to poke out, but right here, this appears to be the dividers for your ship binder. So let's very quickly pull these out, and I believe this is the ship binder as well. All right. So these obviously are going to go into the 3-ring binder, and they're going to be dividing up your various sections, but this is not all that we're going to be seeing here. So actually what I want to do is set these off to the side for a second, and I believe that this is our, ooh, there's a whole bunch of stuff tucked away in here. Quite a large secret envelope. Obviously we're not going to be opening that. Do not open until instructed to do so. Man, they got a lot of stuff packed in here, actually. Wow. Okay, so packed in here with the rest of it, there's a nice like cardboard thing protecting the rings, probably actually protecting everything else, but there's a whole bunch of goodies in here. So yeah, I'm gonna set the binder off to the side so we can take a look at all the other stuff that was like beautifully stored in there. So this is like the main board, Planetopedia, I believe I'm saying that right, but these are essentially going to be the planets that you're landing on. So I'm only going to flip open to this one here. This one is for the tutorial mission that they recommend you play, but you can see here that there's, you know, various spaces on the planets. So you're going to be landing in, this one may not even be on a planet. This one says Eye of the Void, but you're going to have actions you can take on there and different ones you can go to. Cards will be laid down here. So this represents your kind of planet exploration phase. And again, this is a whole thick, I'm just going to peek at the back here. We're talking about 41 pages, so 20 different planets or locations that you can go to. Then we have a book of system maps. So these, I'm not 100% sure. I guess this is like when you're flying around before you've landed. You know, this is various, it tells you to go to various entry logs, things like that. Unidentified signal. Ooh, okay, what else we got here? ISS Vanguard X Fortitude Veritas, the prologue. Okay. So this is similar in Awaken Realms fashion. I'm not going to spend too much time on here because I don't want to ruin a story for anybody else, but they have kind of introduced you to the game via a comic book. So that's essentially what this is. It's just a graphic novel. All right, we have our operations book. You will mark and fill this book as you play operations. This feels like a test book in college. It's got that feeling to it. So things you can mark down here, I guess you could mark them in pencil and always be able to come back to them. There's not a ton of stuff that you need to mark here, but it is giving you instructions. And then this is the log book. Now this, if you scan this QR code, they have a fully voiced app for everything that's in here. So this is essentially the text and the narration and things like that, and your decisions, your choices. Everything's in here as a log. So you can see this book in general, they didn't put a whole lot of time into. It's a nicely bound book, but it's just black and white and it's all print because they really want you to use the immersion factor of the fully narrated app. But if you're a hardcore purist, you can still play the game. Get you out your little test manual and your logbook here and do it old school. So it's just nice that they've given you that option. What else we got here? We got some ships. So these are going to be the various ships you can, I guess the landers you can have. Each one of these has, different stats, landing successes, supplies it can carry, loads, additional modifications. So and these are actually double-sided here, so each side has a new one. And this last one here I think looks pretty alien tech to me. Now, if you are a video gamer, you tell me what you think that looks like, because I know exactly what that looks like to me. But yeah, a little bit of some old Xbox influence in there. All right. Apologize for the noise. This is another part of the game that just is putting themselves up above the rest. So they've got these card holders that are going to go in the binder here, and you're going to be placing people. This looks like a memorial wall. So if you lose people, and you will lose people, they're going to go into your memorial wall, and you'll gain stuff based on them going into a memorial wall. You've got security here. You've got injuries. So as a character injured, they're gonna have to go in this slot them away. This is like the med bay and here it says med bay. I mean, this is just so cool. Here's a whole thing of unique discoveries. So they're basically, they're not just asking you to keep up with all these random cards in a deck and splay them all out all over your table. This looks like some research going on here. Here's stuff that I'm assuming it says ready for production. So I mean, it's just amazing what they have gone through and done here and just prepped you, and I love the organization of it all. All right, so without further ado, let's quickly just look at the ship book all put together. So here's the ship book all put together. It's a really nice binder. Mine, looks like it got a little cut, but nothing a little tape won't solve. And as you flip it open here, not only do you see all this like places to put cards while you're playing the game, but also this is essentially like an index of what's here, starting with resuming the game, the bridge, and then save point at the end, coming back up to resuming the game. So you always start with resuming a saved game, and then I put in all the dividers, and then I had all the card sleeve sheets and was like, well, where do they go? It doesn't really say in the instruction manuals. Well, look, it goes to, they're numbered. These things are numbered. This is amazing. I don't know why this is so exciting to me, but just putting this ship book together makes me want to play the game. So 4 or 5. So let's just go through these briefly. So you've got the bridge, and so these are all your current objectives, secondary objectives, tech level. They tell you to go ahead and put cards in there, but we haven't gotten to the cards yet. But then all of your bridge upgrades are going to be going in here. And then we have, okay, our star map, ship facilities, okay, fine. And then you have, like we said, research laboratory. So here's the lab work that you're working on. You're going to be slotting cards in here and keeps them all organized. All right, what's next? What do we got here? We got our production complex. So yes, stuff is ready for production. I guess once you've produced it, you can pull it out and put it in your deck. Things that are like 20%, 60%, 90%. I mean, I'm just blown away by what we have here. Barracks, situation room. So I know that you can be between, you know, like planetary exploration, you can choose various things. There's probably like a limit, like a action limit that you have. Do you want to say go to the barracks? Do you want to say go to the situation room? Then maybe certain people are better at that. So then here's the hangar. So this is essentially, you know, this book, this binder is essentially all of the different rooms of a ship that you could possibly consider. So here's your, you know, 4 landers that you could come up with, and then all the modifications you can add to those landers. Then we start getting into, all right, we're getting ready to launch for our mission. What's everything we need to do? Begin exploration, leave the planet, docking, debriefing then at the end, and then unloading. What did we discover here? Placed in these cards, double-sided. And then who came back injured? Who do we have in the med bay here? And who, unfortunately, did not make it? They're going to go into the memorial wall, which is very sad. At that point, then, you could save your game, and that's it. If you needed to save your game and come back to it, you would just flip up here, and it would give you the steps of resuming a saved game, and then we're back at the bridge. I mean, this is just amazing. There was one last thing here. This one does not have holes in it to enter the 3-ring binder, but it's just a one giant pocket. It says awaiting on it. So I believe you're going to throw cards in here that maybe you've unlocked, but you're not using in your current mission, something like that. But again, just really nice that they thought of that and added it in. So I'm going to leave that right there for right now. And let's peek into the rest of the box here. Before we pull the whole box over, here are the section boards. So sections are representing, or what they're calling, like the different factions of types of players. So you have engineers, this one's security, science, recon, and engineering. So this is very similar to like their Nemesis games, where you had different characters who fit within those limits, but you know, the engineers all pretty much used the engineering deck, and I actually think they ended up all having their own unique deck. But anyways, these are really nice. These are, you know, dual layers, so there's spots for your dice here, your dice pool, your charges, your spent pool, discard, and draw pile. Spot for your injury cards, and then your character card is going to go right here. They actually had neoprene mats, you know, add-on upgrades, deluxe add-ons that you could purchase that were neoprene mats of these, and were a little bigger, had more space for, you know, like the full card or injury cards and stuff would fit on there. But honestly, I really love a good dual board thing like this, especially when they're done well. This appears to be nice and flat. It's not warped or anything like that. I like being able to like put my dice in there and know that they're not going to wiggle around, and, you know, slot for your charges. So it's actually something that I don't think I will be looking into. As we get more into this, I'm going to talk a little bit more about why at the moment I just have basically the base Wave 1 pledge, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. But all right, so that was kind of the last thing that was just sitting on top of the included insert. So now let's get this bad boy back here and take a look at what's inside. So these, as you may have noticed, we're just sitting right in here, and that appears to be where they're going to be stored. There's a nice spot here to get your fingers underneath them. And let's start, before we take this lid off, because these are built into the lid, take a look at these sun-dropped miniatures, ladies and gentlemen. So if all you get is the you know, the core game without paying for the miniatures expansion, this is what you're going to get. And you could get this sun dropped, and this is only be the miniatures you're going to get, and then you're going to use all those standees off to the side. This, for some people, is perfect. Maybe you're a painter, but you don't have time to paint a ton of stuff. So this right here, you'd have, what is this, 8, 9 if you include the ship. But I absolutely love their sun drop effect. I love the fact that these look amazing, and I don't have to paint them. But we're gonna start with the ship here. I mean, this is just going on. It looks a little, maybe it's supposed to be that way. It's a little bent, doesn't it? But I don't really want to mess with it because it's got some curvature to it. But I mean, look at this thing. It's got like this clear plastic built in. I don't know if this was all one. I have seen that people are doing this now where it's like different colors of resin all in one print job. I don't know how they do it. But I mean, this is just so cool. So cool. And then, you know, obviously when it's stored away, it's going to be in the box, but then it's going to live. I want to make sure I'm putting this in here correctly. It'll float just like that. So cool. I believe this is like your ship, so I don't know how much use it's going to get. Again, maybe just 100% cosmetic, but I'm here for it. All right, so then you have your various factions that are in certain colors. So these guys would be your recon. So 2 different model types. It doesn't matter which one you pick. You can send either one down on various missions, and we'll do some close-ups of these here so you guys can get a better look at these. But just really cool. I really love the sun drop look, but these would also look like they'd be a lot of fun to paint. Some really nice 3D bases and whatnot. Alright, after you pull off the lid with the miniatures sitting off to the side, you have a whole bunch of cards. What's really nice is that they have included 4 separate little smaller size deck boxes in the faction colors here. And then these 2 other boxes, like a A tray and a B tray, where they're telling you, you know, sort your cards out. This is all in the beginning of the rule book, where to sort your cards. Then there's, you know, a spot for big cards here. And let's just take a look at what's in these compartments here. So we have a bag, a nice bag, cloth bag. Get your hand in there, nice and big. Don't quite remember what goes in that bag, but that's fine. So we have some clear bases for standees. Hopefully not going to need those. Here's some smaller clear bases for standees. And then you have colored rings. These are actually really nice. They're like the rubber silicone ones. If you don't have painted miniatures and you haven't gotten around to painting yours, that's why those miniatures were, the sun drops was in the various colors. So you could still use these if you wanted to. And these very much, here's the boards you can see, match the 4-player different faction colors. So you're never going to have more than 4 characters in a game. And you might have, say, 2 or 3, and if you're playing solo, you're just going to control everybody. If you're playing with multiple players, you know, if it's a 4-player mission, you play with all 4. Everybody gets their own. So here we have some basic tracker cubes. These are, you know, universal markers. This is very common in an Awaken Realms game. I kind of like that it you know, serves all the purposes. I don't have to go finding a bunch of things. All right. And then we have our various, these are not necessarily faction dice because there's only 3 colors, but the 3 colors do have differing symbols on them. So depending on what dice check you want to do, you will be better off rolling certain color dice versus the other. And each faction is going to have their own dice. So then we have a couple others here. This appears to just be a basic D10. Alright. And then this one is the danger die, I think. And so this one probably very easily could give you an injury. You could miss, but you could skip a lot of dice checks if you don't want to, because your dice pool you have, and then you're exhausting dice, and you can recover some, but it's not like you always have a full dice pool throughout the game. So sometimes you can skip exhausting a dice, but you'll have to roll this danger die, and then if you're injured, you're going to have to include this injury die in your regular rolls. So all of these are custom. You know, they are standard feeling. They feel nice. They feel fine. It's, you know, all recessed, etched in there. Super high quality. You can get, you know, upgraded translucent. They look like star fields inside. That was an add-on. So while we're just, you know, looking at dice here and talking about, one of the things that I really appreciate Awaken Realms has started to do, and other companies have kind of picked up on this, but don't quite do it to the degree that Awaken Realms does. Awaken Realms, for a lot of their games, not all of them, will produce a game of this size, and they're gonna come right up from the beginning and say, okay, the core box, and like the core miniatures expansion, and like maybe 2 or 3 small expansions. These are going to be available wave 1, and maybe some of the add-ons. Like you could get, there's a unique dice tower for the game. There was the neoprene mats. There was the upgraded dice. All that kind of stuff was available for wave 1. And then there's the larger expansions, as well as the stretch goals and stretch goal miniatures that they're still working on. And since they do 2-wave shipping, they say, okay, you know, unless you pay for only wave 1 shipping to begin with, and their split wave shipping is a lot more reasonable than some other companies. I'm not going to name names. But now that I have the game, the Pledge Manager is open again. Once they started shipping games out, they opened up the Pledge Manager. It'll be open up for several more months now. I'm not 100% sure if you can go all, you know, late pledge at this point, but for people who did pledge at the beginning, I get to now say, ooh, this game really was worth it. You know, I'm going to take the time to play this. I can tell you right now, I'm like salivating over this game, so I doubt that I'm not going to like it, but it could happen. And it did happen actually with Etherfields. Etherfields just did not hit for me, and so I had the opportunity to you know, add on more content, but I said, no, I'm okay. I actually, you know, sold my copy and then just changed the address for the Wave 2 portion, which was just the stretch goal box. And the guy that bought my copy off of me, it just shipped straight to him. So really nice that you don't have to decide in the beginning, do I want to go all in? Is ISS Vanguard so worth it that I'm going to drop $350 on an all-in pledge? Or you could do like I did. Let's just give me the core box on wave 1 and the miniatures, and let me see how good they are and whether I want to bother like getting upgraded dice. Do I feel like those are going to be worth it? How much do I use the dice or care? You know, do I want neoprene mats? Do I want all those additional expansions? Do I see myself playing this game more and more and more? I really like the way they do that, and they do that with a lot of their games. Certainly their big campaign games that's going to have like multiple expansions to it. All right. So at this point we have seen everything that there is to see. These appear, no, I thought these would be dividers. Oh, I do see some dividers in here. All right. So we'll set these off to the side here. I'm going to pull some of these out of the box, but let's just show you what these things are here now. Now, this is another thing that they do. They make these really nice, like it's like a miniature itself, boxes to hold cards. And they did this for, I think it was the Great Wall that they did the first one for. And it really seems kind of silly because you had to store them in their own separate box. So you couldn't keep your cards in the main box. But this one looks like their section boxes might be able to fit right here in place of these. And this is okay. It's, you know, a little flimsy, but I mean, they didn't have to do this. I really liked it. You know, if I'm playing with somebody and they're playing as the engineer, I just pull this box out and hand it to them. So let's take a look here and see what these are. So section specific cards. Okay, let's see what this one is. I'm certainly not going to spoil anything for you guys. More section specific cards. All right, so we'll set these aside. We'll take a look at those here in a second. I'm going to put these, well, I got to remember now which was which. Security is the squares, and that must be science. Yeah, science is purple. Okay. Then what else do we got here? We got these larger trays here. Oh, look, I didn't even notice that at first, but there is a B there. B for black, and that makes sense. So there's a lot of stuff in here. I believe these, I mean, look at this here. Current system. This is like a bookmark that you can use this to bookmark, I believe, in that maps book. Some of their others look like they're going to be card dividers. I don't know how those went in there. Planetary scanner. All right, so this is going to, I think they've like it changed up, you know, updated from their red reader thing, but cards are going to slip in here and only a portion is going to be visible right there. So that's cool. Planetary scanner. There's one other thing here. Looks like some paper. So planet name, remaining unique discoveries. It's this little pad of paper here for you to take notes. Points of interest name. I don't know how many there are here, but a little notepad. That's cool. All right, so we've got some rank up cards, some event cards. We're definitely not going to look at event cards. Mission cards. Okay, most of these are probably in this box. Global conditions. Maybe we can get away with looking at those. That definitely looks like something we shouldn't be looking at. What I'm looking for, equipment. Okay, probably safe to look at equipment, maybe not. These appear to be some dividers right here. So planet cards to resting crew. Ooh, even there's something else back here. Something hiding. Armory. Interesting. Oh, they go like that. Different shape. Oh, because they're for the square ones. That makes sense. Okay. But these are sleeves, but they have stuff printed on them, similar to like Mystic Veil or a lot of John D. Clare games. So you're going to take your character, and when you're playing with them, slide them in here, and this tells you their rank. So this is like rank 1, and this guy right here is going to be a what is pink? Like a level 3 recon officer. So, you know, these are sleeves that you're going to be constantly like pulling off and putting on other cards. But just really cool. Again, they could have just given you like a cardboard token and said, here, just keep this on top of your card and hope it doesn't get knocked off. But they did this. All right, somewhere around here, second objective. Oh yeah, leave those in there. Campaign cards, nope. At some point, points of interest, probably shouldn't look at those. Points of interest, they're all in here upside down. I think actually a lot of these are points of interest. Points of interest, points of interest, points of interest. Should be like a tutorial deck. Oh, this is the back of tutorial deck. All right, this side up, tutorial deck A. Please do not open until instructed to do so. Well, that's like the first thing you see in the rule book. And then we have some more dividers. All right, so I'm gonna look into this first. I think then we can also take a look at some of the section cards and probably some of the equipment cards, and that will be safe. I'll peek at everything first to make sure I'm not spoiling anything for you guys. So yeah, let's get this big box out of the way and take a closer look at the cards. So after further inspection, I don't want to have any spoilers, but I am going to kind of show off the beginning of the tutorial deck here. and just a few of the more basic equipment cards. So if you would consider these spoilers, feel free to check out the timestamps below, and you can jump ahead to us taking a look at the Close Encounters, the miniatures box, if you'd like to take a look at those. Again, you know, you've been fairly warned, but this is the tutorial deck, so everybody's going to see this. This is going to be the first thing they see. There's no story content in here. So let's just take a look at that here. It basically tells you how to set up like the ship book and the card decks, and then it says begin the tutorial mission and start here. So it says to flip this over. So these first 4 people here are going to be your first crew members. And you can see there is a person for, I don't know which one goes to which. Anyways, there's a little bio on the back here, but you can see that each one has several things on their card here. They have, you know, a keyword that I'm sure will come up at some point. You know, they have these, which I believe is their recovery number. This is how many dice they will get back when they recover. As well as a unique ability. So Riku Hashimura's here is anytime spend 1 charge to draw a chosen card from your discard pile. Okay, and then they also have this here. So anytime you roll the dice, all the dice have this basic symbol on them, which sometimes may be a success, sometimes not, but each character has the ability to turn only on a certain color. So Riku here on a red die can turn this basic symbol into a wrench, so good for engineering, whereas Amir Zainab here can turn it into science on a blue die. Joppy here can turn a green into strength, and Cho here can turn a blue into what appears to be navigation. So again, there's a lot of dice checks in this game, but a lot of the skills and upgrades and everything that you're going to put on people are going to help you manipulate those dice. So here's your starting 4 characters. And then I'm just going to show off a couple of these, but each character then gets a small, here you can see just 3 cards, a starting section deck. So these are, you know, action cards that they can play out of their hands. And so I'm just going to show you just the, what was this guy's, the securities, his action cards here. So if you were to play this one during a dice check, re-roll, and that's any die. During a dice check, re-roll any one, and then A plus A, reset all time tracks. So I'm not 100% sure how this works, but again, it's all about dice manipulation. I know that there is a difference between the top and the bottom, and when you would play those, you know, so do you want to give up your backup plan to turn 1 red die into a chosen result? Things like that. So everybody's going to have a small starting hand of cards like that, and then just very quickly, I'm not going to flip over any of the points of interest, but this is your starting mission. So again, turn away if you don't want to see this, but it's also your tutorial mission, so it's going to be one of the first cards you see. But this just says objective regroup in sector 4. All crew members need to be present in this sector at the same time. Gives you some hints, completion objective. And then there's all these points of interest that you'll discover, research projects. You know, I'm not going to get into any of these other spoilers, and this is all just the tutorial. So hopefully that was as spoiler free as I can make it. And then again, we have these equipment cards here, these square cards. So they're going to be, for example, this yellow arrow symbol here is not discard, but exhaust a green die. So if you exhaust a green die, you can remove an injury die from a player, which means, you know, they're no longer injured essentially. So, you know, there's a couple med kits here. Or portable AI here allows you to, whenever you make a dice check in a, you know, space with that flag sector, you may roll any color die from your spend pool, which is nice. Here's jetpacks. Jetpack, you're spending the red dice. Move to another connected sector, ignoring the path icons. This counts as an action. So if you're stuck, say, thematically, you have climbed down a cliff on that Planotopedia board, and so it's going to give you an arrow saying, well, you can go down, but you can't go back up again. Well, if you have a jetpack, wherever it went, and you exhaust a red die, you can get back up. So there is tons of these, well over 100 it appears, equipment cards. But again, I don't know how much this should be common knowledge at the beginning of the game, so we're going to keep everything secret, but you guys get the general idea of what's on the cards here. Okay, with the remaining time here, we're going to take a look at the Close Encounters expansion. Again, this is really just a cosmetic upgrade for the game, but it is miniatures for all the standees that we saw earlier in the game. So we didn't take a very close look at a lot of those standees because this is a much better way to view them. All right, very nice touch. Always appreciate this, you know. Hence, where does everything go back? Nice big sheet. You know, keep track of this, and this just gives you an idea of how many miniatures here are in this box. So, what have we got? What have we got? For the most part here, I am just going to shut up here in a minute, but oh man, like this guy. I'm sure this is probably like one of the marquee guys here, but this blue stuff, whatever it is, attached to him on top of the sun drop is just amazing. Just amazing. Little fella there. Get you back in there, careful. Got these little tiny guys. These guys must attach to something because they've got like a little peg on them. And they don't have a stand. They're just kind of free roaming in there. They look a little fragile. Alright, I'm gonna stick you in there like that. The other thing that I want to show off here before I shut up is things like this that have a spot to put in, you know, depending on what upgrades you have added in. You know, you put in this thing and looks like something's coming off the back of it there, so you could purchase the biome module, and you're literally just like building out. And okay, so say maybe you're done with this one and you want to upgrade to, I don't know, this looks like some better communication array or something like that. I mean, just these are just straight toys at this point. I'm not complaining. It doesn't quite go in there like that. Maybe this will look better. Anyways, it's in there. Certainly not falling out, but just really cool. These are hollow, which is interesting. Anyways, for this, here's another one. Here's another piece. Hold on. Don't want to break this yet. Look at this thing. That's so cool. So cool. Alright. So, like I said, I'm going to stop talking now and just let you guys take a closer look at all of these. That's going to do it for our unboxing of ISS Vanguard. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. There will be more ISS Vanguard content coming to the channel very soon. So if you want to be notified when that content drops on the Meeple Marathon, please be sure to hit that bell icon. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.